You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today's Monday the 7th of July 2025 and you are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. I slept very well last night because I had my blackout blinds down. It took me a little while to get to sleep, but because I had the blackout blinds down, it was actually about 8:30 when I woke up, which is really late for me at the moment. I've been waking up a lot earlier than that. And I got up feeling a bit, when you've slept properly, it takes sometimes a little longer to wake up. So I was feeling a bit groggy and weird and headed downstairs. I thought about watching some TV. And then I remembered that the final 2 chapters of Empress were sitting on my printer from where I printed them yesterday, ready to hopefully sign off today. However, over breakfast, I kind of glanced through those last 2 chapters and realised there were a couple of more changes I could make. So, for example, I'd established in the final chapter that Ronnie had never said, I love you to Adrian. It was just something, in the 5 months they've been living together since the extinction, she's never said it. And I thought, that will mean more if I mention that's the case earlier on. So I had to add a moment in chapter 42 where Marianne and Ronnie are having a conversation, and that's one of the things they sort of talk about, that she doesn't want to say it because he's a bloke and they've been together that long and she doesn't want to freak him out. So I stuck that in there because it then means when she finally does say it in the next chapter, it means a little bit more. And there were a couple of other little things that I wanted to add. So, for example, I established in the final chapter the name of the village they're living in, but it's not mentioned until that last chapter. So I thought, well, I'll pop the name of the place into chapter 41. So it's, when they say, oh, this is New London, it's a reminder of something they said in an earlier chapter. So a few bits I changed. So I then thought, right, let's start this live stream. And there's a 6-minute countdown on my live streams because I like to do the editing live on Twitch. And I suddenly realised, the worst thing happened. As soon as I set the timer at the 6-minute countdown in motion, some bits of Lego popped through my door. Now, not any full sets, I hasten to add, just a couple of the pieces from the incomplete set I bought as complete from a vendor on eBay. So it took me 2 minutes to add those pieces to the model. And then it's like, I'm in my dressing gown. So I've now got 4 minutes to change. So I ran upstairs, changed into something, suitable to wear on the live stream. And then just as the live stream started, I realised that I needed to reprint the chapters because the ones I had on the printer, I'd altered them since then. So I thought, oh, here we go. So I just explained on the live stream that I wasn't very organised and ran upstairs, printed them. And of course I get upstairs and the printer's not turned on, even though I had asked Siri to turn it on. Thank you, Siri. And then, of course, it printed the first 2 pages and then ran out of paper. So my live stream's going on downstairs, which is a picture of a blank chair, and me sending messages via the text service saying, I'm nearly there, I'll be back in a minute. Oh no, I've run out of paper. Anyway, I did that. And then I sat down and went through the last 2 chapters. And I have to say, I did find moments in it quite moving. I kind of don't want to say too much now because I know some of the people listening to this are going to be my beta readers, but there is a death that was quite moving, but there was also a we thought they were dead but they're not moment that was quite moving as well. So I really enjoyed writing it. I think it's almost right. But anyway, I effectively signed off version 1 of the second draft of Empress of the Trees earlier today, and I'm very pleased with it. I then decided, why not make a rash decision? I wanted to go on holiday later today. So I found this absolutely lovely little place up in up north in Northumbria that was available today for the 3 nights I was thinking of going. And of course, because I'd left it so late, I had to phone up the owner to find out whether it was being turned down and cleaned and was ready for me to arrive tonight. And it wasn't. And the company I was booking through sent me a list of other places that I could go. But this particular little place that I found, it's got a little garden. It's in a farm with goats in the field. There's a little place I can use for writing or reading. It'd just be lovely. So I changed my mind and I'm now going away on the 11th and coming back on the 15th up in Northumbria. And the site is sort of 15, 20 miles from a lot of the places I really want to see up there. So, for example, I want to go to the what's it called, Lindisfarne and stuff like that. And it was good, really, that this vendor said they couldn't do it tonight, because if they had, I would have literally had to pack a bag immediately and start driving immediately, because it's a 4-hour drive, and I wouldn't have got there till, it was about 2:00 I was doing this, and it would have been 6:00 at the earliest by the time I got there. So I think booking it for a few days' time is a much better idea. And then, having finished Empress, or finished this draft of Empress, I thought, right, I want to read it as a book. I always like doing that. And I then spent hours trying to format it to upload it to KDP to send myself initially I wanted a hardback, but it then informed me after I'd uploaded the files and design a cover, the moment I press the generate book button, it goes, oh no, it's too long. You can't do a hardback of more than 550 pages. Right, I'd uploaded the bloody PDF nearly an hour before. Why didn't tell me at that point? Because I'd already said I wanted it to be a hardback. I'd already put all those settings in. Why didn't it tell me at that point that the book was too big? But no, it waited till I'd done, pardon my French, fucking everything before it determined that the file was too big. So I then switched to a paperback and faffed around, and it goes, oh, we don't like where your margins are. And I got so pissed off with Kindle Direct Publishing, which is part of Amazon, that there's another printer I use for books called Lulu. I've used them loads of times before, and I'm not kidding. I uploaded the file. It had a cover generator which I used. It was really easy. I uploaded the file. It went, your margins aren't quite right. We recommend doing this. Click yes to accept and preview. So I clicked yes, I accepted and previewed it, and there it was on the screen, looking gorgeous, 634 pages of it. And I thought, well, why can't Amazon KDP be as simple as that? I'm not saying, I don't know, to be honest with you. So this version is literally a preview copy for me to read, because I find, so what I've done effectively is version 1 of the second draft. Version 2, I will literally read through it, and if I spot any little errors, I will correct them as I go. But it won't be major stuff. It'll be little things that I notice on the paper. So that's that. So my plan is, when that book arrives, I shall read Empress of the Trees. And once that's done, I will then probably through KDP, once I've got less annoyed with it, produce paperback copies for KDP for my beta readers. But yeah, I'm done. Empress of the Trees, second draft is done. And bearing in mind, it's taken me 2.5 years to get to this point. Now that includes realistically finishing the first draft, editing all of the first draft, writing the last 11 chapters of the first draft, and then writing and editing the second draft. And that's taken me 2.5 years. But then the second draft didn't take me long. I think I started it in May, so it's taken me about 10 weeks, which I don't think is too bad for a 271,000 word book. Anyway, that is a load off my chest. It's going to be a week or two before I get the preview copy, mainly because I wanted a hardback version, because I just think it'll look gorgeous. Having said that, every time Lulu says it's going to take 2 weeks, it very rarely takes quite that long. But we shall see. It certainly won't arrive before I go up to Northumberland. Anyway, sorry I've gone over a bit, but I wanted to celebrate that I'd completed the second draft, and commiserate that I couldn't use KDP to create a version of it to have a look at. But yeah, that's me done. I'll be back tomorrow. I haven't set myself any targets for this month, have I? I knew I wanted to finish this, but I haven't set any other targets this month. So we will set those in tomorrow's podcast. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.